All right, hi there. This is Ms. Gilmore, and I'm going to share a couple of tips for you with your Chromebook and how to get yourself organized and ready to go with some of the tools that Chrome has to offer. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is pinning apps to your shelf. And I know some students have already figured it out. Some teachers have showed you, but you'll see here that I have a few apps pinned to my shelf, apps that I use often. To pin apps to my shelf, if I go to my launcher and I go to all apps, I find an app that I want to pin to my shelf, like, for example, the Dell Activity Light. If I right-click on that app, which is a two-finger tap on your keypad, your trackpad, you can hit pin to shelf. And what that'll do is it'll make those apps quickly accessible down here in your shelf. One of those things is quick launches, which is a keyboard shortcut. And I'll have a list of keyboard shortcuts available for you in your Chromebook resources on your website. And so what I can do is with the Alt and then the numbers across the top of my row, I can launch these apps. So in order of the way that they show up from my launcher. So Alt 1 would be Chrome, Alt 2 would be my Gmail, Alt 3 would be the Files menu, Alt 4 would be my Google Drive. And so on. And so I'm going to talk to you in this particular video about Google Drive and how to organize your drive and create subfolders in your drive so that you're using your Google Drive to its fullest capability. So on your Chromebook, your Google Drive is in your local files as well as from the Drive app. It's a kind of personal preference. Both are perfect for you. If you're working offline, the Files app is the way to go because it'll sync up all your files when you hit the network again, and I'll show you what that looks like, how to take your Google Drive offline. So I'm going to quick launch. So my Google Drive is in position 4 on my shelf, so I'm going to go Alt 4, and it's going to launch my drive. Pretty sweet, huh? Ms. Gilmore loves keyboard shortcuts or anything that'll make me a little bit more productive in terms of maximizing my speed and capability. So my Google Drive is launching right now. And this drive is sort of organized, but sort of not organized. So I'm going to talk to you about the best ways to organize your drive. If you're somebody who doesn't have access to Wi-Fi, or you know you're not going to be on the network when you're going home or you're traveling or something like that, but you want to be able to do work, you can sync your files offline to your Chromebook. And that would be under your settings cog in your Google Drive. And then settings. And then this offline, you can sync your docs, sheets, slides, and drawings to your Chromebook so that you can open those files and work on them. You won't be able to do all file types, but you can do those. And then it wants to add the extension. This extension is available to you from the store, and so you could go ahead and add the extension if that's something that you wanted to do. And it will put that extension up in there, and it'll make it available for you to take your Google files offline, which is pretty sweet. All right, so it's enabling the offline mode, and it's saying, please wait. And then once it takes me offline, it'll give me a pop-up that'll say that I could do that. All right, so that's one tip for your Google Drive is working offline. You're pretty familiar, I'm sure, with how your drive works. Create new folders and files right here from your new menu. You could also create these just by launching those specific apps from your Chromebook. So with Google Classroom, that many of your teachers are using, you get some sort of file organization and tree structure, and so we're going to maximize that tree structure. So you'll see I have some files down here that are not necessarily organized. The best way that I recommend that you do that is by creating subfolders, whether that's for your specific classes or right within the root of your Google Drive. If you're using Google Classroom with teachers, a great way to keep yourself organized is to create subfolders within those classroom folders. So for example, if I'm going into my Global 2 class, maybe I have a class notes section, a vocabulary section. So you'll see I have all these files just kind of sitting here, and they're not necessarily organized into subfolders. Sometimes when assignments are given to me in Google Classroom, they'll self-organize based on the folders that your teacher has created and the assignment titles. Sometimes they won't. And so it's always a good practice to come back into your drive and keep yourself organized. If I'm getting ready for a quiz on Friday, I don't want to have to sit here and go like, oh, okay, what notes do I need to review and so forth. I really want to be able to say, here's my notes on Unit 1, and this is what I should cover. So if I go into, I have created this notes folder, but maybe I'll create a new subfolder. So create some folders in your Google Drive. Do this now with me as you're going. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to change this to Unit 1. And then maybe inside that folder, I have notes and vocabulary and tests and so forth, things that I need to use to keep me organized. Back in the day when Ms. Gilmore was in school, I used to have a 3-ring binder, and then I'd have tabs for each one of my classes, and in those I'd organize my notes that I took in class, the quizzes, papers I got handed back, so that when I was ready to review, it was all there for me. You have a Chromebook and a digital classroom, and so doing those things in your Google Drive will maximize your productivity. So to move things into folders, you just select them. So this is student vocab squares, so maybe I want this to go into there. Stage 1 causes of the French Revolution notes, obviously I want that to go in there. So I can hold control and just click, or I can mass highlight if they're all in a row by clicking control and then holding shift and clicking down. Those are some just key tips. And then I can drag up over here, or I can unnest my folders here on the left. And I can also drag this way. So if you unnest your folders, you can see all of your folders on the left-hand side, so you'll see all my subfolders. Or if it's easier for you to drag up, you could do that, or you could just right-click and say Move To. This window is going to pop up, and if you don't see your Move Here button, make sure you scroll inside this small window and not within the big window of your Google Drive. So if I'm going to put it in my Age of Revolutions folder, if I need to scroll down in this window, I can, and then hit Move Here. So you see, just get comfortable with your scrolling, and now those files are organized. So take some time, organize your files into subfolders in your Google Drive, and maximize how you're able to review and approach your classes so that you're ready to be productive using your Chromebook. Another tool is to color code your folders. So I'm going to come back to my Drive root, and you'll see I have a cookie trail going across the top of my drive every time I move into a folder, so trace yourself back to where you are before. If you right-click on a folder in Google Drive, you can change the color, so you can color code your folders. All of my global stuff is going to be color-coded with green, and all of my English stuff is going to be color-coded with purple. So use color codes as well to keep yourself organized. So my Google Classroom folder is going to be green, and then maybe I'm going to change my subfolders in here. All my ELA classes, this is my test student that I dump into everybody's class, so are going to be goldenrod. That's right, goldenrod, not just yellow, goldenrod. Keep that in mind. So I can organize my folders like this as well. So I have files at my root, in attributes word cloud that I did for one of my classes. I can drag those files back into those sub-classroom folders and keep myself really organized at my Drive root. If you don't, this is what happens. You get a bunch of files just sitting here at your root, and you're like searching through stuff. Luckily Drive has this nice search Drive feature, but where you can just start to type in the name of a file and it should pop up for you. But keep yourself organized, take some time, whether it be like every, Friday you have a few minutes at the end of the day, or Monday morning you get to school early, and just organize your notes, organize your files that you've been creating at the root of your Drive, and put them into subfolders. The last thing I'm going to show you when it comes to Google Drive is opening files that are view only from some of your teachers in your classes. So I'm going to launch Google Classroom, it's in my shelf at position 5, so I'm going to go Alt 5, and it's going to load my classroom up. And I'm just going to show you real quick what it looks like when a teacher gives you a view-only file. So if I go into my test class, and I open up this class notes file once it loads, when I open this file up, it's sitting at the top of my Google Classroom here. I don't have a file attached for me, so they didn't give me a copy of this file. So I'm going to click and open up this file. So I'm going to go ahead and click and open up this file. And what it's going to do is going to open up the version of the file that I was given access to. If my teacher gave me my own copy when they assign work, it'll show up as an attachment here, and that'll always stay attached to the assignment. So you could work on it in class a little bit. You need to go home. Don't turn it in. Go home, open it up again. You can open it up from your drive or from Classroom. Work on it some more. And when you're ready to turn it in, you can turn it in. If it's not here, down here, that means you were given view-only access to that file, which means you need to make your own copy, do your work, and if you're supposed to turn it back into your teacher, make sure that you reattach it back to them by adding an attachment here. So I'm going to open up this To Kill a Mockingbird notes just to show you, and because it's a Google slide, and this will be the same for Google Docs, Google Drawings, Google Sheets, it's going to show me that I have view-only rights as it loads up here. It's saying, hey, you only have view-only rights on this file. Other types of files that you're given, like PDFs, you won't see that. So I see that I have view-only access on this file, so I can now make my own copy of this file, put it in my drive, and then be able to take my notes as we're going through the lesson in class. So if I click on File, I don't want to add it to my drive because I'm just adding the file that I have view-only rights to. I want to make a copy so I have my own copy of it that I can add notes to. So I click Make a Copy. It's going to open up this handy-dandy copy document window. Be smart about your naming. So I'm going to name this, so that I know what this is. And Drive is going to let me choose where I put it. So if you don't do this at the time that you make a copy, make sure that you go back and do it after the fact. I know I want to put this in my Drive, and if I double click, I can bury this down into my class. I want it to go into my Classroom folder, and then I want it to go into my ELA class, whatever the set is. Okay, so in this folder, and then if I have a note subfolder, you see how organizing my digital binder is making me more productive. And then I hit select, and now while I'm making a copy, I'm organizing it where it needs to go. So be methodical about how you use your Google Drive. Google Drive is a very, very powerful tool, and you have this amazing access with your Hilton Google account that'll help you stay organized and be ready for attacking your classes and be ready to go. So I want you to take some time. I know this video is a little bit longer than I was hoping, but I was showing you some tips and tricks. So I want you to take some time now, make some subfolders in some of your classes. If your teachers are giving you notes, create subfolders for notes or specific, drill it down, Unit 1 notes. By your concepts that you're covering right now in class. Okay, so make sure that you do that so that you can, when you're ready to review, you know where you need to go to pull up your class stuff and be able to be an all-star in the classroom. We'll see you next time.